Have you ever played a game so bizarre that it made you question everything you thought you knew about video games? That might sound overdramatic because it probably is, but up until recently, such an experience was foreign to me. Now though, things are different. If you've never heard of Doshin the Giant, I can't say that I blame you. The game was originally made as a launch title for the ill-fated commercial failure that was the Nintendo 64 disk drive in Japan only. It was later ported to the GameCube with some enhancements made, and it did receive a full English translation, but here's the odd part. While this version did release in Europe, it never saw the light of day in North America, or anywhere outside the PAL and NTSCJ regions for that matter. As such, it's now become something of a relic of the past, old, forgotten, and oft overlooked, and as is the case with many of these obscure GameCube titles, it's become quite the collector's item, and nowadays fetches a reasonably hefty price on the second-hand market. This is a game that is shrouded in mystery, so that begs the question, what exactly is the deal with Doshin the Giant? Being originally made for a console from one generation prior, the visuals aren't anything to write home about, and without any context, the gameplay looks weird.
He appeared. It's the big man.
I must admit, I was curious as to what genre it would even fall under. I fired it up in the hopes that actually playing the game would provide some clarity, but I was initially so confused after playing its opening section. You take control of a big yellow giant, presumably Doshin, and you walk around this island just kinda doing things? You can pick stuff up, reshape the land, and there are even a few people around who you can interact with. I'd describe it as a sandbox style of game, and hey, credit where it's due, wandering around the sun-drenched tropical paradise of the Barudo Island makes for a very relaxing time. But what actually is the objective here? Well, Doshin is said to be a reincarnation of the sun who rises from the sea at the break of each new dawn. As a love giant, his purpose is to watch over the inhabitants of the island, helping them to survive and thrive. This is done by answering the requests of the people. As you walk around Barudo, the humans who live there will ask you to carry out certain tasks. For example, they might want you to plant some trees in a certain area to add some greenery and provide a source of energy. This green energy is required for the people to be able to build over a specific area, so you want to spread the trees out and try and cover as much ground as possible. Another requirement for building is a flat part of land. As the island comes with its natural hills, mountains, and uneven terrain, completely smooth surfaces are few and far between. Luckily, Doshin has the ability to raise and lower the ground at his will, allowing him to make adjustments until it's relatively level as per the human's desires. These are ultimately simple activities, but I find them to be calming, almost therapeutic in a way. However, it's not always plain sailing. Sometimes, Mother Nature will unleash her wrath and wreak havoc on the land with natural disasters. Of course, you have to do your best to stop said disasters from destroying everything you've worked so hard on and spent so much time building up. You've got fires that you have to stamp out, downpours that you have to break up with your forehead, and sometimes you'll even get volcanic eruptions. If you see one of these happening, you're pretty much screwed. You kinda just have to shield the villagers from the lava and pray that no stray rocks end up crashing into them. There are some preventative measures that you can take. For example, you can strategically place rivers in areas susceptible to fires, or raise mountains in areas that might get blown away by a tornado. It actually makes you think carefully about the layout of the island, and I enjoy the depth, both literal and figurative, that this adds to the game. Helping out people causes them to release their feelings of love in the form of hearts, and when you collect enough of these hearts, Doshin will grow in size. This is important, as getting bigger allows you to be more efficient. Initially, Doshin is pretty sluggish, so getting around the island can be a bit of a pain, and you'll often find yourself falling down mountains as you're too small to climb them. As you grow bigger, however, you're able to move faster, jump higher, climb up steep mountains without losing your balance, and reshaping the land becomes far easier. While your size does reset at the start of each day, given that your life force is intertwined with the rising and setting of the sun, it becomes easier to grow quickly as you get further into the game. Naturally, the population of humans begins to expand, and as such, so does the amount of love you're able to acquire. It gets to a point where the people become overjoyed at the mere sight of Doshin, and release hearts for merely being in his presence. The best part though, is that you don't necessarily have to use your powers for good. I mean, you can be an honourable giant by helping the humans out, flattening the land, moving trees, and shielding them from natural disasters. But sometimes, the people are annoying. Sometimes, the people are ungrateful. Sometimes, the people don't appreciate all of the hard work that you put in for them. You move a tree where they ask you to put one down, they'll get annoyed because the tree is now in the way of where they want to build a new house. is, you raise the land up slightly higher than they want it, they'll get angry and make you lower it back down again, but if you make it just a millimeter too low, guess what? They'll want it higher again. Like, can they please just make up their minds? You slave away, working yourself to the bone, day after day, and then they have the audacity to tell you that you don't measure up. Sometimes, the people deserve to be put in their place. And that is where Doshin's alter ego, Doshin the Hate Giant, comes into play. At the push of a button, Doshin is able to take on a completely different form. Gone is the helpful, friendly love giant that served to protect the island. In his place is a force of destruction. Doshin terrifies the humans, causing them to flee at the mere sight of him. He can stomp down their buildings, fly around to terrorize innocent citizens, and even throw out fireballs to annihilate everything in his path. The hate you receive as Doshin has the exact same effect as the love you receive as Doshin, meaning that irrespective of whether you act as a help or a hindrance, you'll still grow in size. It's honestly a lot easier to accumulate hate than it is to accumulate love, so hey, if you want to go full demon mode, knock yourself out, nobody's gonna stand in your way. Even when you're playing as Doshin though, you can accidentally get hate for your actions. For example, there are these random boxes you can find underneath houses, and some of these will contain hearts, while others contain skulls. Additionally, over the course of the day, you'll grow so big to the point where accidentally stepping on a few people almost becomes an inevitability. Oops, I guess. Overall though, the ability to switch between Doshin and Doshin at any given time provides you a real sense of power and freedom. The idea that you can do whatever you please regardless of whether you choose to act in the name of good or in the name of evil. The only thing that can dictate your actions is your own moral compass. Now, while destroying things is a lot of fun, it's a lot more productive to be helpful. As time goes on, the humans will begin to build more and more structures. It'll start with just a few houses, but eventually they'll move on to things like water mills, grain towers, and holiday resorts. When a village gets big enough, its inhabitants will want to create a special monument. Once this is built, that village is effectively considered complete, and everyone lives peacefully. Until a volcano decides to spontaneously erupt about 5 feet from them and Thanos half of them out of existence. The whole objective of this game is to try and have as many of these monuments built as you can. However, when you're starting out, there are only 4 villages, and since there can only be 1 monument per village, that equates to 4 monuments in total. So how do you get more? Well, if you take a random pair of a male and female to a new area of the island, they'll start a brand new village. There are quite a few smaller islands off in the distance that you can carry them to, and one time I swam all the way across the sea to this remote island on the edge of the map, and to my surprise, there was a guy just already chilling there on his own. Like, how did bro find his way there? I then proceeded to kidnap a random girl for him from somewhere else, and they lived happily ever after. The other thing to consider is that the people on the island start off in 4 different tribes: red, yellow, green and blue. The colour of the buildings in a village represents which tribe the inhabitants are from, but oftentimes the people will wander around and intermingle with the other tribes. Aside from the visual difference, this is actually important for completing the game. You see, the different combinations of tribes will build different monuments, so if you want to see all of them, you're going to have to mix things up quite a bit. It feels oddly rewarding to see the island grow and develop, watch these monuments get built and see the villagers rejoice. It's slow and gentle in its pace, but this measured gameplay loop is a big part of the game's appeal. Doshin the Giant is undeniably a pretty weird game, and I can see why Nintendo might have thought twice about releasing it to a Western audience. The concept is not something that sounds like a massive amount of fun on paper, and yet I found myself strangely enthralled by it. The freedom to do as you please, the strange satisfaction of watching the world and the people around you grow, knowing that you've played such a big role in their development? I don't know, there's something oddly special about that. It's hard to put it into words, so if my ramblings have by some miracle intrigued you, by all means give this game a shot. You might be surprised by how much you enjoy it in spite of its apparent simplicity. It's a game, no, an experience, quite unlike any other that I've played, so for that, thank you Doshin. Hey, thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. I want to give a special thank you to my good friend Green for suggesting this video. He's wanted to see this review for, I'd like to say, 4 years now, so sorry to keep you waiting, and I hope this lived up to expectations.